Michella Chester here with NCAA Digital. I've got Andy Wittry here with me today, our NCAA.com college basketball reporter. Andy just did a huge piece on the best player at every jersey number in college basketball. So, one, Andy, how'd you come up with this? How'd you research it? And about how long did this take you? I imagine a while.
Thanks, Michaela. Yeah, there's lots of stories in the preseason about, ranking your top 100 returning players or preseason All-Americans. I decided to put a different spin on things and look at it through the lens of the best player for each jersey number. And so I went through all 358 Division I men's basketball rosters for the 2021-22 season, and then picked out the best players for each jersey number.
So basketball has this unique rule where numbers 6 through 9 are not allowed. So first of all, why? Can you explain this rule? And two, how did it affect your findings in this piece?
Definitely. So officials have to be able to signal to the scorer's table with one hand. So if there's a foul or a player subbing in or out, they have to be able to go, 0 through 5. So you can't do, 6, 7, 8, 9. And so that means that players can wear, the jersey number 0, but not 6 or not 17 or not 29. And so that means that, the pool of available numbers is pretty limited in college basketball.
So I imagine the lower numbers, as you mentioned, have the largest pool of players to choose from. So from 0 to 5, can you explain some of your picks there?
Definitely. So starting off with double zeros, which once again, it would be 0 for the official. So you can wear 0 but not 6. It's interesting. So I went with Wright State's Grant Barcelo. I only actually found 5 players in the entire country who will wear 0 this season. He was an all-conference player in the Horizon League. At 0, I went with Houston's Marcus Sasser, was the team's second leading scorer on a Final Four team last season. 1 was Michigan big man Hunter Dickinson, who is the reigning Big Ten Freshman of the Year. 2 was Gonzaga's Drew Timme, the leading scorer on their team that only had 1 loss and played for the national championship last year. 3 was Johnny Juzang of UCLA, the team that nearly beat Gonzaga in the Final Four, and who now returns for a preseason top 5 team. Number 4 was LSU's Darius Days, who was one of the 25 most efficient players in the entire country last season per KenPom.com. And 5 was Duke freshman sensation Paulo Banchero.
Let's go 10 to 15 now. Take me through some of your choices there in the process of picking them.
So we'll start off with a couple of Big 12 guards. So 10 was Baylor's Adam Flagler, who was actually a reserve on last year's team, averaged 9.7 points per game, a 43-point three-point shooter, and just a very talented guard who now this season in Baylor's title defense efforts could be maybe their second or third best player on that team. 11 is a transfer to Kansas. That is former Arizona State guard Remy Martin, who is actually the preseason Big 12 Player of the Year in his first season in Lawrence. 12 was Florida's Colin Castleton, who came on strong at the end of last season. Number 13 is BYU's Alex Barcelo, actually a player who started his career at Arizona and now is a very experienced guard in the West Coast Conference. 14, Notre Dame's Nate Lazuski, and then 15 was Purdue backup center Zach Edey, really a force at 7'4".
20 through 25, what were some of your favorites there?
Let's start off with number 21, Kofi Coburn of Illinois, a player who could have gone pro last season, helped Illinois earn a number 1 seed and now could be competing for, Big Ten Player of the Year honors, first team All-America honors. Another good one is within the Big Ten, Indiana's big man, Trace Jackson Davis, a centerpiece in the first year of former Hoosier Mike Woodson's first season as head coach in Bloomington. And then back to UCLA is Johnny Juzang's running mate is Jaime Jaquez Jr., wears number 24. 2 players that both earned second team all Pac-12 honors last season. And I thought that he's the best number 24 in the country this season.
So, Andy, above 25, I imagine there were a lot less options. Not a lot of players want to go above 25 with that weird 6 through 9 rule. So what are some of the best of the rest? And on top of that, what were some of the most rare, difficult numbers to find?
That's right. So, Michaela, there are actually, numerous schools that there's not a single player who wears a jersey number bigger than 25. So you get into the 40s and 50s, and those players are hard to find. I only found 7 players who will wear number 53 this season. Only 6 that will wear 43. They're just not very common. They're not cool numbers to college basketball players. So looking at kind of, the best of the rest, we'll go with, 35, Syracuse's Buddy Baeheim led a Sweet 16 run as a number 11 seed last season, now playing alongside his brother and for his dad at Syracuse. Other good ones, we'll go with number 50, Purdue's Trevion Williams, a first-team All-Big Ten selection last season. So Purdue actually had 2 different big men on this list with Trevion Williams and Zach Edey. Also within the Big Ten, 55, I went with Eli Brooks, kind of a role piece, but a starter for them, a player who's played a lot of basketball in the maize and blue there up in Ann Arbor. And so there's also players from smaller schools as well. As I mentioned, that some of the 40s and 50s is it. So for 51, I went with Drexel's James Butler. 44 was Missouri State's Gage Prim. And so, sure, we have lots of, Gonzaga players and UCLA and Purdue, but there's also, Horizon League schools and Big West schools. So this is certainly a fun activity in advance of the season.
Well, Andy, I'm sure a lot of time spent looking at college basketball rosters. We appreciate all the research you did. It was a really fun piece. Thanks for joining me to break it down.
Of course. Thanks, Michella.